Hello, everyone. I hope things are going well for each of you. By the way, can you see my sweatshirt? The Green Bay Packer, my favorite NFL team. Go, Pack, go. I do want to thank my beautiful and wonderful wife, Barb Grabner Kearns, for giving me a couple of suggestions as to how to improve the production of these videos. I certainly welcome your input as to how I can do better in this production, in future productions, I should say. In the last video, 3 of you posed excellent questions. And so what I'm going to try to do tonight briefly is to focus on one of those questions, and I'll respond to the other 2 later on. And hopefully I understand this question correctly, but that why is it that someone dies at a young age? And is that fair? And that's a question that people have posed to me over the years. And so I'm going to share with you in terms of how I respond to that, not only to other people, but for myself. The way I look at it is that we look into the scripture. And that when we look in the early chapters of the book of Genesis, is that first you have Adam and Eve eating the forbidden fruit. By the way, it was both Adam and Eve, not, Eve gets the bad rap. That is just not true. They both were at fault and both were ultimately punished. And then we see that their sons, at a young age, that Cain kills his brother Abel. So you have the loss of a young man. Now, what I think gets people tripped up about, why does this happen to good people? Why does this happen to people that are young? Why do bad things happen to them when, they seem to have done nothing wrong? And that is what I call Deuteronomic thinking. And what that simply means is that in the Old Testament, particularly the first 5 books of the Bible, is that if you did something wrong, then you must have, then that you'll be punished for it. If something bad happened to you, then people will be suspicious and think that maybe you deserved it. Now, let's go to the book of Job. In the book of Job, it begins in telling us that you have this righteous man, a man that's faithful to God. In fact, God brags on him. And that things begin to go downhill. And that includes that he loses his children. Again, you have people that died at a young age. And then for the next 35, 38 chapters, you see that Job is struggling with the hardships that he's going through, with the suffering that he's going through. And it doesn't help that he has well-meaning friends that are badgering him, saying, what did you do, Job, to deserve this? My contention is that the book of Job is challenging that notion that people deserve to die at a young age, or really deserve to die at any age. And so I want you to think about, consider that. Also, that when the reason I share all this is that I believe in terms of that when we have this relationship with Jesus Christ, is that we are going to have our ups and downs. We're going to have our times of pain, suffering, depression, conflict, injustice. And so the real question is It's not that we're going to be exempt once we accept Christ into our lives. Actually, what this does is that it gives us a tool. And maybe tool's not the right word, but that gives us a way of handling life's difficulties. Be it grief, be it conflict with some particular person. And so that is how I approach when unfair things happen. That is something that is personal to me. That we are not guaranteed to be free from problems and other struggles that goes on, whether with ourselves or with other people or within the world. I hope that in just this brief explanation that is helpful to particularly this one person, but I know others looking at this will find this, I hope, that to be helpful. If you have other questions, if you have other comments, if you want to continue this conversation, please feel free to make comments down below, or you can private message me. Now, this is called We're Curious, these videos. And the purpose of these videos is not just for me to talk about things that I'm curious about, but I'm curious about the things that you're interested in and how we can have conversation. So I don't see this as my video, I see it as our video. I hope, and again, that this has been helpful to you. If you have, well, let me back up. Well, I would just want to close out and say, I appreciate you taking time to watch this. I pray for God's joy. I pray for God's peace. I pray for God's love to enter into your hearts and souls. Much love, and thank you for watching.